We bring out patients from the hospital. Hospital transports them out on a Saturday, and they turn around and between anywhere from 50 to 75. These could be wheelchair patients, people from the hospital that are shut-ins. I contacted Mr. Good to find out if I could get permission to have the picnic this year. I wanted to do two of them, one in May and one in September, because the hospital, they asked us if we could do more than one. Said okay. Come to find out that the city wants to charge us $30 an hour to have a picnic. Now, I talked to Mr. Good recently last Friday, and he said since this new thing with the Sport Authority doesn't go into effect until the first of the year, which is your year, which starts 1st of July, we could have our picnic and there would be no charge in May. Every little bit of money that we put together, as you guys know, you do a budget every year or go over it all the time, is all volunteer. We have no income except for dues and whatever we can raise on the outside. We do a lot of things for Millington in the past, and we're grateful that Millington lets us use the Baker Center for the meetings we have once a month and things of that nature. But I think this is, you people were dealing with thousands of dollars here tonight, not counting millions that you probably deal with over the time. That $120 to $150, I can't fathom why you would charge veterans. This whole town was built on veterans. All of it. That air base out there brought veterans in. 20 to 30% of the people that retired or got out of service when they stayed in the military. 95% of my people that are in my group, which is about 140, are retired and stayed here in Millington. And I think it's, I talked to Mr. Good, and he said Sports Authority splices it off in different directions. You know, if you use this part of the thing, it's going to cost you this much money and so forth. It's, for every little bit I can't spend, I got to spend outside for veterans. I can't spend it on them. And that's what my concern was. And I come tonight to the meeting to ask the Board of Aldermen to waive this, because of the simple fact that veterans put this town on the map. Because if it wasn't for that air base, we wouldn't be here. We'd be a part of Shelby County. And that's the way I feel on that. And there's one other item. For the past 3 years, the American Legion, or the last 2 years, our post with new members that brought a fair in. Everybody's been to it, seen it. For some reason or another, they decided, or the city has decided, that they weren't going to let us use the USA Stadium for the fair. This is the way we raise money to help veterans. And they decided, whoever in the city made that decision, whoever it might be, said no. But instead of calling us in, like we had many meetings before, to set all this up and get it all worked and ironed out, instead of having that courtesy, they emailed us. And I think that's wrong. And when the city, when our members talked to the city, they said, verbal agreement, nothing in writing. We had the fair for 3 years. City turned us down. So we moved to another city. We're going to Covington. But this, to me, is wrong. The word is the word. When somebody tells you you're going to do something, you should do it. But my main concern is the VA picnic for the veterans in the hospital, the shut-ins, the ones that can't get out. Now, I can go to a park and have it, but it's pretty out there by the lake. It's a good spot. Is there any questions?
I'd like to comment to that because I'm the one that has made those decisions. With regards to the park and the picnic, we are not charging before July 1st. But after July 1st, because we have to staff restrooms, we have to have people over there, we have to pay for restroom supplies, we are in the process of establishing a policy that will cover those costs. We are still considerably less than what they charge on the naval base for veterans events. And so we have made that concession and we put veterans in with all of the nonprofits. Am I correct with that, Todd? So that all of the nonprofits have a reduced rate based on that, and we're still considerably less than what the base charges. We are like any other entity, and I appreciate your concern and I appreciate your questions. But for my taxpayers and the taxpaying citizens of this community, we cannot continue to do things free. We're not trying to make a profit, we're just trying to cover cost. And when we have to pay staff and we have to pay personnel and we have to pay for supplies, those things are going to have to be paid by the users. And we do that consistently. We're trying very hard to keep from having to raise the taxes and having to do the things that go with that. With regards to the fair that you had scheduled out there,
We had it scheduled.
Yeah, with regards to that, when we did a cost analysis on that, it would have cost the city, and Todd, tell me if I'm correct, about $10,000.
The total city cost would have been $6,100 that we could assign for the $2,500 in revenue.
And so, again, I made the decision that we cannot continue to have events and lose money on them when all we're asking is to break even. Because your fair would require dumpster pickup every day, we would have required police protection on a regular routine basis, it required electricity, and again, we would have required supplies, we would have required fire personnel out there, and we just cannot do that and not at least break even. Now, if we had 50 entities who came that were nonprofit and said, but we're nonprofit and we just want to do this, well, over the course of a year, that's a lot of money. And our property taxes just don't generate that much money. So I'm the one that made the decision.
Okay. What I'm saying is, on the fair, I don't want to get into it too deep. If they would have come to us and said, we need $7,000, we need $8,000, we'd have raised some money to cover this by sponsoring. But nobody did that.
Well,
all they did was email us, and that was what my concern was. They didn't sit down and say, no, I can't have this. You can't have it because of this.
Well,
or can we negotiate? No, they didn't do that.
In hindsight, we probably should have done that. But because you were on a short schedule, we determined that maybe you could find another place that you could host it. Well, Pat, did you want to say something?
Yes, if I might. I'd like to donate the fees for their picnic in September. I'd be glad to pay those fees.
I appreciate that.
And I guess you guys all know me, so that...
Yeah, this is Pat.
Well, I thank you for that very
And I
much.
think, and that would be for your picnic in the fall. And I think that you would find that there would probably be people here who would help Pat in doing that. And I can't do it from this seat. I mean, I can't say I'll pay for it. But I think that if Pat put out the hat, she'd probably connect.
I'll take care of it. I'll take care of it.
You sponsored September and I'll sponsor next May.